Yeah?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Rotary Club of Nairobi podcast series. The Rotary Club of Nairobi was chartered in 1930. It is the oldest club in the region and the third oldest in Africa. Our podcast series is going to invite guests who will share their experiences, their careers, and their life as Rotarians. I am your host, Susan Murabana. Our guest today is Ritesh Barot. There's so many things I want to ask you, Ritesh. Your positivity, your excitement, and everything you bring to us as a community in Rotary. But before I do that, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself, your early childhood, and your life until now.
Oh, wow, Susan, 93rd president. If only the individuals on this podcast could have seen the smile on my face when you introduced me so beautifully. Thank you. My childhood, I was born not very long ago. I'm probably the youngest president the club had. I was born in 1982, actually, in Nairobi, fourth generation Kenyan. My great-grandfather came to Kenya from India in the early 1900s. And, of course, my grandfather was Kenyan, so was my father, so is my father. And it's a family of, a small family. I have a brother and myself, who you have met.
Yes, I have met Ritesh.
And, of course, the family is very much involved in giving back to community. So growing up, I was, of course, like every other individual, going to school. I was at St. Mary's, and yes, and thereafter at St. Austin's Academy.
Oh, okay.
And after completing my A-levels, I took International Business and Finance at University of Westminster, and thereafter continued with postgrad. I also managed to work for some time at Barclays Private Wealth, and thereafter I was lecturing undergrad.
Wow, cool.
And I've been to Kenya since 2011, as we have some family businesses here. And it's about 2015 when I started visiting Rotary Club of Nairobi as a guest. And thereafter I was really deeply involved after participating in some projects.
Every Rotarian in Kenya, in the district. So for viewers, listeners who are not Rotarians, we do have regions in Rotary. Everyone knows Ritesh.
I think we'll get to that. You're probably alluding to the height. Well, I am, by classification, we usually say classification in Rotary, and my classification is investments. I'm director of Barco Hiring and Leasing Limited and Barco Investments. And I'm also known to be a columnist, as I write for certain publications, including the Daily Nation.
And yeah, you have beautiful articles, I think every day.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday on the Daily Nation. Ritesh Barot, right?
Yes.
So when did you join Rotary? How did you know about it? And what really when did you get really inspired to be part of the Rotary community?
So I'd like to begin this by going a bit further back. When I was in university in London, I got involved with some community work and started working closely with some NGOs during weekends. At that point in time, I wasn't aware of Rotary, but I started working with certain NGOs such as Children with AIDS Charity and the like. And when I came back to Kenya, I noticed that I needed to get back into the fabric of the society because, of course, I'd been in the UK for quite a long time, almost 11 years, and needed to get back into community, give back, make friends. Of course, I was immediately involved in the family business, but to be more socially engaged, I started participating in certain community service initiatives and all. And of course, going to art in the park and many other fun activities. And apparently a couple of members of our own club tried to invite me many times to the meetings on Thursdays, which used to take place at LICO between the years 2012 and 2014. At that point in time, I used to have a different concept in my head of what exactly is this I'm being invited to. Is it just a lunch meeting, like a business meeting? Because I used to go to a lot of business meetings.
Let me just ask you, what was your perception of Rotary at that time, if you recall?
I wasn't actually very aware, because the biggest mistake is that we start making all these ideas in our head without actually physically going to a meeting.
Yeah.
I was trying to correlate it with all the business meetings we go to. You know, usually there are a lot of business meetings which take place over lunches and all that.
Yes.
So I was thinking this is just one of those. So at some point in time, should I leave office early, I will visit. But I wasn't making a conscious attempt. It happened in 2014 when Rotarian Kalpa and I were at Karura, Art in the Park. And we were going there to do art on a monthly basis. And
to do art in Karura?
Yes, wow. Art in the Park. They used to put up the canvases or like on easels, and renowned artists Patrick Inutia and Adrian Duma and all used to come.
Yes.
And spend the afternoon teaching us how to paint.
Yeah. And so you're with Kalpa and you're in an art faction at Karura Forest. And
yes. And she came from a Rotary meeting. She's always been very active in Rotary.
Yes.
And I was telling her that nice to see you again today, and you seem like you're really busy. And she was explaining me about all these wonderful things which are happening at Rotary Club of Nairobi. And it struck a chord with me, and I told her that so many individuals have tried to introduce me to Rotary Club of Nairobi or bring me as a guest first. And she said, give it a try. Why don't you just come as one of our guests? You know many people there who have invited you, but just come for a lunch and see what exactly happens. And the rest is history, as you've seen.
So we owe all the thanks and everything to our lovely Kalpa. I'm not surprised she was able to convince you to come. Not insist, but she's just that's Kalpa. She's got a way. So if you want someone else in our club, you know who to go to.
It's true.
Yeah, we are glad you joined our club, Rotary Club of Nairobi. So when you joined, you didn't have thoughts about it once you came for the meeting. What happened?
I started coming to meetings when past President Elizabeth Kim Kung was club president. She's phenomenal. And I remember the meeting which actually I was taken aback is when District Governor Teshome Kabede was carrying out his official district visits to the clubs. And Rotary Club of Nairobi was showcasing the eye camps and all the other projects, score distribution, bed kit distributions, and it literally made me understand. I was fully engrossed. I was trying to figure out a small team of individuals. Well, it wasn't a small team, it was a huge crowd that day, but I was aware many of them were guests. Yeah. So I was just trying to figure out how are they able, because they are all professionals, they all have families, how are they able to carry out such high impact projects, and they are reporting what they are doing. And this, they've reported, has just taken place over the last few months.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of felt, okay, I don't have an excuse. Yes, we are all busy. Yes, we all have professional lives and personal lives. But if they can do it, then why don't we take on the challenge? So that's when I kept on coming to the weekly meetings. And Kalpa says this very interesting joke.
Yeah.
She said that when I was telling Ritesh that you'll have to come to Thursday meetings, he was making excuses. Will I be able to come every Thursday? Should I start something which I will not be able to continue? And she said a few months later, he's the only one who had 100% attendance.
You are the definition of a Rotarian, a true Rotarian who, dedicates time and creates friendship and, has time for community projects. And you also bring your passion to Rotary. I know I have a little bit of knowledge about your passion, which I'm hoping you'll talk about now. Talk a little bit about the things you do when you have extra time outside Rotary, outside your business.
A lot of things, actually. I enjoy painting. And I really enjoy painting. And I'll tell you something interesting about it. Mm-hmm. I, of course, was trying to make sure that I utilized my time well when I was back in Kenya. And in the evenings, I've never actually had a habit of watching television. Okay. It's interesting. I listen to podcasts, and I'm really glad that we're having one right now.
Yeah, so, podcasts are cool, and yeah, the listening part of it. I think it's really
fascinating. Yeah. So I listen to music and I listen to podcasts, and at that time I also end up doing something creative. So either I end up writing something or practicing calligraphy. I decided I want to get a lot of art supplies, and I wasn't a trained artist. Wow. I did not actually study art beyond primary school, where you have to.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
But amazing. I always could sketch.
Uh-huh.
So what I decided is, let me get a lot of supplies and try my hand at it. And it was actually very therapeutic. Mm. And over time, I enjoy trying out new techniques. So it's become a very good, I wouldn't say it's a hobby anymore. It's become a passion. But that's what I enjoy doing for recreation.
I'm hoping that one day we could have all this art and have you and other artists in our club. You know, take some of us. I don't think I can come up with an art piece, but guided, maybe I'll come up with something bit decent, but take some of us Rotarians through a process of creating something, and we do it together. I think that would be a very fun way of getting to know each other.
Yes,
on a deeper level, artistically.
Yeah. We should do that. We will do that. Well, one thing I would like to tell you is there is an artist in each one of us. You know, it manifests in different ways.
Yes.
It could be through singing. It could be through writing. It could be through painting. Mm-hmm. It's there, it's inbuilt.
There. Yes.
We just have to find it.
We're all born artists.
It's
that's
true.
What they say. So I want to ask you about, with Rotary, what's one of the things that you're most proud of in your time with Rotary? I know you've been a president. Maybe it's during your year as a president, or just generally. What's the one thing that you're most proud of?
The one thing I'm most proud of, and it may come as a surprise. Yes, projects are very important, but I'm proud of the family. I love the family. Mm-hmm. And I've realized that the connect we have as the Rotarians in the club and beyond, very strong connections. Mm-hmm. And I think it's on the basis of these connections that from different vocations we are able to come together and work on different committees and work together to actually come up with such wonderful initiatives and deliver on the promises we make. Yeah. To society. Yeah. And to work on whether it's citation goals from the district or citation goals from Rotary International or emergency response projects which just come up because of emergencies which take place around us. Yeah. And I think as a Rotary, whether it's Rotary Club of Nairobi or the Rotary District 9212, we have really, really pushed ourselves and delivered. Mm-hmm. When COVID pandemic broke out, yes, immediately there are so many projects happening in the 7 areas of focus, and yet the same individuals who are busy with projects for the clubs and the district end up participating also in the COVID response.
Yes.
And the similar situation happened recently with famine relief.
Yes.
There is so much to be proud of, and this is only possible when we work as a family, a cohesive team. Yeah. And I'm truly proud of something else, which is quite personal, that the family always stands by you, regardless. you know, when you're going through tough times emotionally, or when you want to speak to someone, or just you want to have a fun day with individuals and spend time in cheer and joy.
Yes.
I love the family.
Yeah. That is so wonderful, so beautifully said. So any listeners who are listening to this podcast and are not Rotarians, I know we think of Rotarians as the busy people, like you have said. We think of them as, you know, the richest of society, which is not necessarily true. And it's just lovely to hear you talk about that family, that coming together in times of need to help community, in times of need amongst us, because we are human. We go through emotional times and happy moments, and we come together as a community, as Rotarians, to celebrate that. And that is so well said. Are you able to give one example that was personal for you, that stood out with these moments of family and togetherness?
Personal to myself, my mother has recently passed and was not well for a prolonged duration after suffering a brain stroke. And during that entire duration, I have, of course, been very active with Rotary, and I've always had the family checking up and coming to visit her, which was giving her such great joy. I really like this aspect of individuals being real humanitarians. And I think what defines us is, over time, the bond which we have. Yeah. It genuinely becomes a family. And of course, when you talk about individuals and, of course, their classifications, we have the best of the best classifications in our club. Even the conversations we have one-on-one with each other, it develops our mindset. It broadens our horizons in thinking. You know, there's so much which we attain just by having a cup of coffee with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about your mother, and may her soul rest in peace.
Thank you.
I'm sure she was a wonderful, wonderful lady to have, you know, brought up a wonderful man like you.
Well, thank you so much.
And Ritesh, your brother.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask you, you're young, you're very youthful, you connect with a diverse age of Rotarians in our club, in other places. What is your hope for our club as Rotary Club of Nairobi? What would you like to see done better or improved on? What advice would you give the younger leadership coming on board?
Rotary Club of Nairobi is a very unique club. We are 92 years old, and over time, of course, changes have taken place. I have noticed changes since the time I was visiting to the point where we are now. And these changes are not, I wouldn't say good or bad. I'm saying they are aligned to the district. They are aligned to RI, Rotary International. I think, first on the onset, Rotary Club of Nairobi has always been the benchmark when it comes to compliance. Yeah. And I think going forward, we should always aim to maintain that. Our club is actually seen as the benchmark. So any representative coming out from our club and visiting other clubs are actually revered, more or less.
Yeah.
And that's because we carry this recognition from the club. Mm-hmm. And going forward, what I would like is just to make sure that our club leadership, which of course annually changes,
yes,
the boards also change, the presidents change.
Yes.
We just have to make sure that we focus on compliance.
Yes.
Everything else falls in place.
Yeah.
We are a very ambitious club. We do very high impact projects.
Yes.
The kind of projects we do, some other clubs would actually just stand back and watch. Mm-hmm. Literally, but that's because of the experience and expertise within the club. Members who have served for over 30 years, mm-hmm, still running projects in the club.
Yes.
And the younger membership are so energetic and dynamic.
Yes.
It's an incredible mix we have. The biggest plus point we have in Rotary Club of Nairobi is that we have the senior members who have all this institutional memory and who have all these experiences which they can share and guide. And they're more than willing to guide the young individuals.
Yes.
If you have noticed, they're encouraging the younger members to actually come into certain leadership positions and to champion projects and learn. And they are actually, how a parent is with a child, usually they handhold and they actually very carefully teach them the right path.
Yes.
So, like it's like a university learning for the younger Rotarians within our club, right?
Yes, yeah.
Our club is unique.
Yeah. Wow. That's a really powerful message, I think, for any Rotarians who are listening to Ritesh, and especially the ones who are younger and coming into leadership, and our Rotaractors and interactors who are school-going students in high school. I also wanted to ask you about your connection between, do you feel there's a connection between your personal life, especially your career, and Rotary? Do you think there's a way that Rotary has influenced you as a businessman, an investor, or is there a way you have influenced Rotary through your career?
That's a very interesting question, because you see what happens is we of course have the 4-way test, which Mike Eldon says is a 3-way test, and I agree with him, and we'll come to that.
Yes.
Perhaps in another podcast. And
but you can say the 4-way test here. You can recite it. Feel
right.
free.
So Rotarians live by the 4-way test, whereby all the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
That is powerful, yeah.
It is powerful. And yes, it's true that if you live by that motto, it should impact every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
I think in my case, these words actually resonated with me the moment I started visiting Rotary. Because even growing up, although we didn't have this 4-way test, well, these mottos were actually embedded into our upbringing.
Yeah.
So I don't quite know whether it's actually impacted my work or vice versa. What I do know is that everything has been so coherent for me and seamless that I've managed to make the best of both.
Okay.
I, of course, have to make sure that work doesn't get affected by Rotary activities, because sometimes what happens is if you take on certain responsibilities, you really want to do your best in delivering. And in Rotary, of course, it is an organization which is so beautifully structured.
Yeah.
And it's actually a very well organized organization.
Yes.
And of course, we want to deliver as president or as whichever role we come into, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, of course, work carries on.
Yes.
So I think during such situations, it's only the hobbies and other activities which can take a back seat for that duration.
Yeah.
But I think it's all about time management and being focused and the passion, whether it's for work or for Rotary or for family. Yeah, it's all about the passion for it.
Yeah, I agree. Passion brings in so many things. It attracts other passion. Yeah. So we were about to come to the end of the session. So if you had never heard about Rotary, put yourself in that situation. How would you recruit someone to join Rotary? You meet someone and you think they'd be an ideal Rotarian, but they've never heard about it. What would you tell them?
Right. I have very interesting answers for this one, and there are many of them. First of all, if I meet someone for the first time and I want to talk about Rotary, it means I've probably met them at a place where I know that they're doing something meaningful. I can already gauge in my mind the values which they can add to Rotary. One has to be very careful when they're trying to introduce individuals to Rotary. and you have to be very correct in your judgments because you want to add value to the Rotary family.
Yes.
So once I've actually seen these traits in an individual, I don't think it's going to be a tough task explaining about Rotary, because I've done this before. Spoken to certain individuals and invited them over as guests, and they have actually visited the club. Some actually ended up joining other clubs because of convenience of time and location. So it's not tricky at all. The other thing, which is a very powerful tool, we are all on social media now, and we have also got all sorts of friends on social media.
Yes.
How are we bringing forward the Rotary story?
Yes.
When you're posting pictures of high-impact projects,
yes.
and you're actually posting professional-looking pictures or doing the PR right, I'd say that we become brand ambassadors.
Yeah.
PR becomes part of the deal,
yes.
right? And membership recruitment is something which is always on the agenda. Because, as they say, that Rotary International many years back had 1.2 million, and now we still are at 1.2 million Rotarians.
Yeah.
And, of course, during the last 2 years, COVID has impacted activities of clubs. Clubs went virtual.
Yes.
I served as the first virtual president.
And you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And even during that virtual year, if you noticed, we recruited members, very
yes.
wonderful members in Rotary
did.
Club of Nairobi.
You did.
And of course, the district also had many clubs recruiting members. It's all about, as an individual, how you're perceived when you're out in public, when you're in certain settings, what individuals actually perceive of you. And if you are someone who's trusted and are an individual who actually has some clout in certain surroundings, then you're bringing forward a message of Rotary.
Yes.
Individuals will join.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Favorite movie?
They keep changing. They keep changing. I think my favorite movie at some point was Godfather.
Ah, cool! High five!
And I think
I can give you an offer you cannot resist.
True.
Thank you so much, Ritesh Barot. We appreciate you coming over and sharing your story and your Rotary journey. And we hope to have you again. There's so much more I want to ask you, and I'm sure there's so much more you want to tell. And we wish you well in your Rotary life experience and your business life and your time in Kenya. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.